Hello and welcome back to the Corruptive Chaos channel. Today we'll be reviewing Jurassic World Dominion, the third Jurassic World film.
Don't move. Bigger. Why do they always have to go bigger?
So, this is the third Jurassic World movie. It was once again directed by Colin Trevorrow, who directed the first Jurassic World movie. Disclaimer here, I actually have not seen Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I guess as someone who really loves the original Jurassic Park, I'll say right off the start, that might be my favorite Steven Spielberg film. I had no interest in seeing it. I think that it looked way too schlocky. I think Spielberg proved that you could do dinosaur movies really well. Well written, you have great characters along with the spectacle of the dinos on screen. But anyways, here we are at the third Jurassic World movie. This has been marketed as the final Jurassic movie. They got back the original cast from the first Jurassic Park, Laura Dern, Sam Neill, and Jeff Goldblum. I think that was the main draw that made me want to go see this one, apart from reviewing it.
Ellie Sattler.
Alan Grant.
You didn't come out all this way just to catch up now, did you?
And so, to say the first thing that comes to mind when wanting to talk about the film, it would be that legacy cast of those three main characters coming back. Of course, Jeff Goldblum, he was in The Lost World, the second Jurassic movie. Sam Neill was in the third one, Jurassic Park 3.
Alan.
And here they are once again, and those were my favorite moments of the film. With those characters, obviously we have Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard playing Owen and Claire. Those two, they're back together, I guess. I do feel like I did miss out on a chunk of story from Fallen Kingdom that was not bridged as someone who is going into this having just seen the first Jurassic World. I was wondering, how did dinosaurs already spread the entire Earth just within a couple of years? And where are those two kids from the first Jurassic World movie? Who knows? But anyway, we had a new child addition in the film. She, from what I understand, was a major part of the previous film. Owen and Claire have her under their wings, basically. They're out in the wilderness, you know, away from civilization, trying to keep her safe as she is sort of proof of this sort of genetic testing that her mother did. That would be Isabella Sermon as Maisie Lockwood, this little girl. This is a great child actress, I would say. Out of those three sort of main characters from this new trilogy, she was a great addition. I think Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, that couple just doesn't have very much chemistry to me. I don't think those two are very romantic leads. He kind of plays the straight-laced, you know, action-adventure guy, while Bryce Dallas Howard's character seems to have gone through more since the first Jurassic World movie. But so basically you have those two groups when it comes to the plot of the film, the legacy characters and our new Jurassic World characters. The Jurassic World characters are trying to protect the little girl. She gets kidnapped very early on. I don't think that's a major spoiler at all. And basically they go on this mission to retrieve her, save her.
We can't keep her here forever.
They find her, we're never going to see her again. We got to protect her. That's our job.
And then you have the other side who are trying to do the good work of the world and trying to understand why these locusts are trying to destroy all of these crops and why they are huge and who is behind that all too. Eventually those plots do intersect with each other, and you get all the characters on screen together. Once again though, you do have a bit of a stock villain, stock human villain. The main villains of course are the dinosaurs that you get to see throughout any sort of park area. And then you also get this sort of stock bio company that has mischievous things going on behind the scenes, of course. So, like I said before, Jurassic Park is probably my favorite Spielberg movie, and a pretty great filmography. I think he makes you believe that dinosaurs really do exist. And here, this is a very schlocky, sort of downgraded interpretation of what Spielberg did almost 30 years ago. The visual effects are pretty good. The set pieces are pretty good. But is it anything we haven't already seen in a previous Jurassic World movie or Jurassic Park movie? No. Are there any subversions in the story and plot? Or are there any great character developments in this film? No, not really. It's about what you'd expect. But as I've said in other videos, I'm a fan of kaiju movies, giant monster movies, like Godzilla and Gamera. And here, the dinosaurs kind of fit into that vein of these giant monsters. Of course, these did actually exist in the form that they take on screen, or at least, you know, the interpretation of how the filmmakers want to portray dinosaurs.
We're racing toward the extinction of our species. We not only lack dominion over nature, we're subordinate to it.
And those set pieces where you have dinosaurs chasing after or getting close to killing any of our protagonists, that can be really suspenseful stuff. It is done in a very schlocky, B-movie-esque way, though, which, as someone who likes B-movies, I can appreciate. But general audiences, I would just say, you know, this was done way more suspenseful, way more cinematically a long time ago. What did I think of the first Jurassic World movie that came out, you know, nearly 7 years now? It's a pretty standard sort of legacy sequel to a franchise that had been dormant for a number of years. You had a fun cast enough. Chris Pratt kind of just plays his usual character archetype, which is very similar to the Star-Lord archetype in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Who are you?
Star-Lord.
Who?
Well, Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw.
I think it serves him far better there in how he acts, because he's sort of oblivious in those Guardians movies, whereas here he's still kind of the dumb-headed, thick-skulled hero that will just rush into action to save the day. But that archetype feels kind of out of place in movies that usually had scientists as the lead. Of course, the three returning cast members, they were playing scientists, archaeologists. Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum's character, he returns in this one as a philosopher, which is kind of funny. Jeff Goldblum, very weird in this, and I appreciate his weirdness. Other than that, in those set pieces, without dinosaurs, there are a number of scenes that feel like they could be from a spy thriller, where they're trying to infiltrate this sort of network of corruption in the black market and retrieve these dinosaur specimens. Of course, I don't know why the blue character, dinosaur, the raptor, is so important. Of course, in the first one, Jurassic World, Owen Grady did train the raptors, tried to command them, even though that doesn't seem to have worked out in this film. And he still cares about them. So there's a big subplot about saving even Blue's child now in this film, because that is also sort of a clue to these villain scientists on how to create some sort of genetic code to save the planet from destruction that they themselves created. I'm being a bit vague with that because I don't know if people cared that much about the story in these. So technically I already mentioned that the visual effects in this actually look pretty good. I am a bit of a stickler when it comes to bad CGI. I think a lot of modern movies do have bad visual effects, but it's 2022 now. Come on. Any mid to large budgeted film, like this one especially, should have pretty great effects. I should buy into the fact that, you know, you're trying to tell a story with dinosaurs that do not exist in the real world currently, but my suspension of disbelief shouldn't be shattered with a bad effect on screen. I think that was fine. Did I notice when the sort of real-life crafted dinosaurs were on screen and being puppeteered? Obviously, there's not real dinosaurs, but they can be crafted and they're actual physical things that an actor can react to on screen. and not just have to believe in it with green screen effects. Yeah, I did notice a lot of that, which once again, I appreciate actual in-camera effects and puppeteering like that. So I was a bit surprised to even see that in such a large budgeted movie that would more heavily rely on effects.
The doomsday clock might be about out of time.
I guess, I don't know how much else I have to say. It's a dinosaur movie. They run around, they destroy things, our characters try to save the day. There's usually an evil corporation involved. We have that here. It's nothing special. Our returning cast members are wonderful. As someone who loves that original Jurassic Park movie, it's always the dinosaurs that should be the villains, or should be causing the destruction, but it's always man-made. And the first one, I think, achieved more of an intellectual statement on evolution and how we treat animals than these new Jurassic World movies do. These ones feel very just entertainment for entertainment's sake. I do hope this is the last Jurassic movie. I think it's an alright send-off for our characters. It's good to see these actors that we don't usually get to see in these big blockbusters anymore return on the screen. Like Sam Neill, like Jeff Goldblum, and Laura Dern. They might appear in blockbusters, but they're not starring in them like this one.
If our world's gonna survive, what matters is what we do now.
I could use your expertise.
You coming or what?
Compared to other sort of soft reboots or legacy sequels, these characters actually get a big say in the plot. You know, a lot of times in other ones, like Star Wars, for instance, our characters that are returning after years or even decades, they're kind of pushed to the sidelines, and they feel like they're there as a necessity more than as a tool that the screenwriter can use to create a compelling story on screen. So I am in a weird place where this does feel like an obvious downgrade when it comes to Jurassic movies. Colin Trevorrow is no Steven Spielberg. There isn't much directorial style, much to be seen here. It doesn't seem like the camera is being used in any sort of interesting, spectacular way. We get a lot of drone shots, usage of handheld, dolly shots, normal stuff that you'd see in an average feature film. And that's exactly what this is. It's an average movie. As someone who likes, these suspenseful, kaiju-like movies with giant creatures running around amok, I will have to give this a soft recommendation in giving it 2.5 out of 5 stars. For me, I guess I went in with very low expectations. I thought this would be very schlocky. It is. But I thought it would be even stupider, I guess, and more illogical than it ended up being. It was fun and entertaining in many spots. I laughed at many of the jokes and situations that the characters get encountered in. Of course, there are so many coincidences that appear on screen. Characters barely escaping at the very last second. That happens time after time after time. But, of course, it was expected going into this. I think Chris Pratt is a pretty boring leading man in this. I don't know if he was checked out or if he was actually giving his all. But to me, it seemed like he was phoning it in. For the child actress, I think she was pretty good for her part. But really, I was going to the theater to see the returning 3 main cast members from the original Jurassic Park. And I was glad that they got as much screen time as they did. Anyways, I'm not against more dinosaur movies, but I think this is a franchise that should probably die off. This should probably be the end. It's a fine enough send-off. I suppose it could have been worse. Let me know what you thought about the film Jurassic World Dominion in the comments below. If you stayed this long, thanks, and be sure to subscribe and like the video.
See? Not so bad.